You have not authorized your quickly. Yes, I'll let you know. We are live already.
tiletelani nyali kuno kukaya alundazi box one kanele mundubile na munyake make bibiza na mama Abrenda Nyirenda Simbi za Jelemani. Hakainde watondeka nadi watondeka
Thank you very much. It's a wonderful day that the Lord has made. You wouldn't believe it. Just as I was about to cross over to my team and the entire system just shut down. Kindly share, kindly share. Sorry for the delay. I'm hosting two key people. Let me just see if our network is properly connected because I lost power systems. I don't know where I pressed and I wish to apologize, but it looks like we are on, we are live. Share the broadcast, share the broadcast. I've got my team in the studio already, and one team is in Solwezi, the other team is in Lusaka. So let's just see if we are all connected. Let me monitor and tell me how the picture, video, and everything is looks like we are okay. Looks like we are okay. Let me just check. Thank you. Thank you. So the system just shut down when I was trying to press a button. I was trying to press a button like just it happens just now. So thank you very much. I've got a very powerful team in the studio. Let me just introduce them and then I'll let you know who they are and what we are doing today. Today we are trying something new. There's what is called the last mile campaign, and this is what we are doing. We'll be here every day in your face and to get your views. Let me start with the mayor, the Lusaka mayor aspirant, my dear brother Gabriel Kiwombwe. Gabriel, let's hear from you. I hope you are connected and your audios are okay.
Well, I'm connected. I can hear you clearly, and I hope it's the same on your end.
Thank you very much. That's our Lusaka mayor aspirant, Gabriel Kiwombwe. I've just pulled him off from the campaign trail that you need to speak to Lusaka and to the rest of the country. And the world needs to know who can be the next mayor of Lusaka. You know, it's a very big thing here in the United States and even in the United Kingdom for a capital city mayor. So Gabriel, we celebrate you and we want to hear you and hear your brilliant ideas.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let me go to the boys. The boys, can they hear me? Boys, how are we doing? Oh, we seem to have that difficulties with the boys. They can't hear me, and that's one of the reasons we're a bit delayed. Chabota, can you hear me? Kuzwayo, Danson,
yes, we can hear you now.
Oh,
yes,
wonderful.
Ambassador, we can.
Yeah, please introduce yourself very, very quickly.
Do the honor. Danson.
Yes, boy.
Chabota.
Hello.
Sui.
This one.
Ambassador, this is our team. Thank you for having us. We are currently in Kasempa.
In Kasempa, wonderful. I like your call sign, the way you call each other, and you've made it a signature tune. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us. We have a very power-packed program today, and all of us will be discussing these very issues. Let's start with the $450,000 haste. Yui Mwala, police, Copperbelt Police provincial commanding officer, is in the thick of things. He was retired 2 weeks ago when we understand the investigations started. And yesterday he was picked up from Copperbelt, was ordered to come to Lusaka, arrested, detained, and then transferred back to Mufulira, where the crime of the scene, we understand, took place. He's charged with a businessman and two police officers. The police officers are Patrick Muti and Boniface in Chimunya. There's also a clerk of court, Obrian Chipunza, and the magistrate who was handling this matter, Edward Banda, and the businessman, Daniel Makina. They are said to have stolen, I think we understand this, 6 copper trucks. But Valinyanta Pakava, because this mine where this copper came from is very, very connected. It's a Canadian firm, Ivanhoe. They have 2 major mines in the DRC. And one of them is a friend to the president, one of the directors, the former president of South Africa, Kgalema Motlanthe. He was the first visiting dignitary to Zambia, and we questioned why a former president was the first dignitary when President Hakainde Hichilema The very issue we talk about, Brentes Foundation, the president being connected to the mines, First Quantum, this is the network. So, Yui Mwala, alinyanta pakava. But could this be a matter to distract us from the many issues? There are ballot papers that have arrived. There are concerns that there could be some ballots that were printed in a parallel process from Dar es Salaam by a sister company to the Dubai printer. Is this information true? Is it to sway Zambians from the key issues? I have a powerful team, they'll discuss all that. And how come they've arrested Yui Mwala? What about the Sugilite truck that was carrying almost $750 million worth of Sugilite? And what happened to that Sugilite truck? What about the theft of gold that has been happening in Mufumbo, in Kasempa, where the boys are? How come we haven't seen this level of attention to the crime of both copper, cobalt, Sugilite, and copper? How come we haven't seen this part of attention? The next matter is a matter of serious concern. Xavier Chungu, who's a presidential aspirant and was forced to withdraw, remains detained in police custody, is in prison. And then our member of the Fraternity for Us journalists, Macpherson Mukuka, who's ZNBC reporter. Now, President Hakainde Hichilema is receiving a lot of pressure on this. Amnesty International, Committee to Protect Journalists, Free Press Initiative, Action Institute for Policy Analyst Center. These are powerful media institutions in New York, in London, and in Paris, and they've all called on the president to immediately release Macpherson Mukuka. But whichever president Walomfa, Macpherson remains detained. Then our very own Kenneth Kamba, who's in charge of vote protection, who's been coordinating the issue of party agents, PVT, and everything we've been crying about vote protection. At the center of it has been Kenneth Kamba, and was available to a lot of information as Deputy Secretary General in charge of vote protection. They picked him up, they've locked him away, and they've thrown away the key. They don't want him to be around. This is similar to what they did to the security team of both Honorable Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu. They wanted to strip them of their defense, and they picked the boys, gave them fictitious charges, and threw away the keys. And the security detail, primary security detail of both Honorable Makebi Zulu and Brian Mundubile are now in Mwembeshi prison. This is what they've done to Kenneth Kamba. And there's a major case in the Lusaka, in the Constitutional Court, that we should watch for. There's one judgment that's coming up tomorrow in regards to independence. There are suspicions that the independents who filed in before they resigned from their political parties might be stripped away their right to participate in this election. Is this a move to remove Gary Nkombo from the ballot? What is this Constitutional Court judgment that's coming up tomorrow against independents? We have to watch that. Another one was filed in regarding the running mates that have resigned. You have 3 running mates from Harry Kalaba's party, Brian Mushimba's party, and from our dear sister, Reverend, the independent only female candidate, Katuta. Their vice presidents, their running mates, withdrew from the race. And in Zambia, the ticket of the president is a joint ticket with the running mate. So what happens if a running mate resigns or withdraws? How can such a ticket remain valid? That matter has been taken to court. Mwangala Zalumis, who's a chair for ECZ, says it's a gray area, there's nothing we can do. But you cannot file as a presidential candidate without having a running mate. Then what happens when the running mate resigns or withdraws? If they die, there's renomination process that is called. But what about in the cases of resignation and withdrawal, especially that Zambia practices the issue of a joint ticket system? This was to bring stability to the presidency. Zambia lost 2 presidents in office, Levi Mwanawasa and Mike Osata, and the country was forced to go to elections. So this came to stop the succession of going back to elections and the succession crisis that emerges. In future, if the president dies, he will be covered by the running mate. That is why the running mate has to be elected by the people of Zambia as well, has to have constitutional eligibility like the president, because they are potential presidents. But the cases of Harry Kalaba, Brian Mushimba, and Madam Katuta, what happens where they have lost their running mates to withdrawals and resignation? Let me bring in the team, and we'll be biased a bit. We have His Worship the Mayor. This man might become Mayor of Lusaka, and we are rooting for him. He's standing on the NRPUP ticket. Let him just briefly tell us his campaign and what he's doing and what are his plans for Lusaka before we join him into the bigger debate of the issues I've raised. Gabriel Kiwombwe, welcome to the program, and make your case, my brother.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Kindly confirm that I'm still audible.
Brian, Gabriel, can you hear me?
Are you able to hear me as well?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Yeah, so thank you very much for giving me this opportunity on this huge platform, very popular personal blog that you run. The mayor, the city of Lusaka is one small city in terms of the expanse, in terms of the geography of the city. But population-wise, some people may not realize that Lusaka is 6 times the size of a country called Cape Verde, and way bigger than our neighboring country, Botswana. So that seriously calls for a leadership that is capable and qualified city. And this is a city with 10 constituencies. So just as a brief background for people to appreciate who Gabriel Kiwombwe is, I am academically, I usually tell people that for this position, I am academically suitable. I'm suitable as well in terms of the experience. I bring the right mix in terms of academics, education, the experience, the passion, but as well as the mature leadership that the council needs and the city of Lusaka needs. In terms of some of the academic achievements that I have, and I only restrict myself to those that are necessary to running the council. The smallest that I have is a diploma in clinical medicine. And I usually like to speak to this, Ambassador, because the council right now is responsible for all the clinics. During our time as PF, we embarked on a program called decentralization or devolution of functions. So the clinics were now moved from Ministry of Health to fall under the council. So you want to have a mayor who also understands primary healthcare services, because all these things around clinics and all the issues around the clinics fall under the council now. So you're a mayor who's qualified in that regard. Beyond that, I also have a degree in development studies, which is very important for town planning. We want to talk about issues to do with cheap housing, affordable housing, but quality housing with good ventilation, so that we avoid what are called the social dimensions of health affecting our population. So with development studies, I'm equally well placed to lead the council and speak the same language with the planners. Beyond that, I've been fortunate enough to have a double master's degree. One of my master's degrees in public health, and the second master's degree is a master's degree in business administration. You might realize that for public health is very important. We've got all these cholera issues, the issues around planning for water, planning for sanitation, the refuse issues that people are talking about. I'm going to discuss those a lot more in detail when I give my vision. And then because the council is also a business, we must have somebody with business administration knowledge. The last qualification that I'll speak to is my PhD, in PhD, pursuing a national development PhD with a major in theoretical economics. And this is very important when you talk about bringing in investors and growing the city of Lusaka into a commercial hub, into a city that can generate its own monies and bringing in the networks. And some of these networks I'm going to discuss later. So this is just over and above who I am, and I have been involved in managing huge NGOs, US government mainly. The smallest maybe is around $10 million. I've led projects worth more than $148 million. I've given technical support to country programs in Nigeria and West Africa, some of them as huge as $600 million. And I speak to these figures just to make people realize that CDF in Zambia for Lusaka is just $20 million. So this is not going to be a headache, for a person like me to manage and to plan for and make sure that you have this financial acumen and accountability to deliver within Lusaka. Because now Lusaka is going to be more like a project. When it comes to my vision, I envision a city of Lusaka that is able to generate its own funds, a city that operates on digital platforms, collecting revenue and being accountable to the people of Lusaka, putting that revenue into good use. So we have some problems within Lusaka. The biggest problem that we have is that Lusaka itself is an old planned city. So as an old planned city, it also has old infrastructure. And that combination is compounded and worsened by the fact that we have population explosion. So these three factors are the root cause of the problems that we have in Lusaka. Everything else that we discuss, Ambassador, is just a baby. It's a baby of the root cause, which is an outdated city plan, old infrastructure, compounded by overpopulation. And to solve that, in the long term, I wish to see that...
Mayor Aspirant, you've become famous for Vinyalala. I don't know Nyanja, but speak to that briefly. The cash,
yes, I'm going to speak to that.
The rubbish, what are you calling
trash.
it? Trash for cash.
Cash for trash.
Yeah, cash for
we
trash.
We want to monetize garbage, okay? And Ambassador, speaking to that, I will share with you, and you'll be the first one actually to break this news. Because of the idea of cash for trash, I've actually been invited to go and speak at the World Forum. So this is a forum called, it's organized by the UN Habitat. It comes up once every year, and this is the third one that is going to be held. It is called the World Clean Day. Just like we have all these other days. So we have a World Clean Day. It happens on September 20th. Because of a cash for trash, I've been invited to go and speak to that initiative. They love it. They believe that it's important for sustaining a clean environment. So just to explain it to the people of Lusaka, the same way that we buy scrap metals now is the same way that we'll be buying garbage when I become mayor. Families, people, youths will be selling plastics, the recyclables and non-recyclables to us. We're going to set up what I call garbage kiosks. So look for plastics. They'll bring them to this center near the market, for example, near City Market. Some of them will be in wards so that we can employ our youths in the wards. And once you get those plastics, we'll have machines to shred them into a pallet, and we weigh them. Once we weigh them, we'll have a barcode there which shows exactly how much they weigh, and we pay you cash instantly. What that is going to do is going to keep our surroundings clean. It's going to teach our homes and schools and companies to separate trash. We're going to be having color-coded bins. A red bin, mungenama plastic, you put plastics there. You have a green bin, you put vinsima, you put my vegetables. These things are going to be made into manure. Then you've got a blue bin where you can put other things, maplanga, vikopo, and so on. So once we do that, Ambassador, to set up one kiosk, you'll be employing 10 to 15 youths who will be going around to this trash, bring it to the kiosk, we process it, and then dispatch it. So this is the concept. And the UN, even before I implement it, the UN has recognized this initiative, excellent initiative, and they want me to go and speak to the world on the 20th of September in Shaoxing City or district in China. And when I'm mayor, I'll make certain that I pick at least 4 people this I can pledge. I'm going to sponsor them and support them. I'll pick one from the council, I'll pick one from Zema, one from Wema, and I'm going to pick one from the Lusaka Integrated Waste Management Company, so that we start moving together. So whether before I'm even mayor, the United Nations has acknowledged and appreciated this initiative. So that is about the Cash for Trash, Ambassador.
Congratulations, and we are proud of you that you are making moves before you even become mayor. And your brilliant idea, Cash for Trash, is being recognized. That's how cities are kept clean, and that's how cities are kept modern. Let me go to the boys with their cosign. So Kuza Opiri, Danson Lungu, Chabota Simwewa. There is a fourth person you didn't give me the name. So guys, you've been on the trail with Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu and Alliance Partners, and you've seen the crowd, the electric crowds, from Kitwe right up to Lundazi. Now you are in Kasempa. Just walk us the journey and just the growth of this campaign, which has now dominated the country. And now we are seeing the presidential candidate for the Tonse Pamoze Alliance become the leading figure in this race, to the extent that now, 2 months ago, they said President Hakainde Hichilema would win the elections because the opposition was divided. Now the narrative has totally changed. As at 2 weeks ago, they were saying it's 50-50, neck to neck. As at today, when I was scanning the reports and others, they've placed Brian Mundubile as the leading candidate 14 days before elections. But walk us through the process. You've been on this journey.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for this opportunity. So we've been on this campaign trail for for close to a month now. We started off from Eastern Province all the way to Uchinga, as well as Northern, Luapula, Lusaka, Central, Copperbelt, and now we are in the Northwestern Province. So with what we've had a very successful campaign trail in the last 7 provinces, and the Northwestern being the 8th one is also looking to be very successful. You see, when we were coming to the Northwestern, we understood one simple thing. People need change, but we also understood another thing, that Northwestern was, quote unquote, the bedroom of the UPND administration. But with what we've seen so far, starting from the first rally we had in Solwezi, we have come to understand that that's not the case anymore. Because from the Solwezi mega rally we had, all the way to the Mwinilunga rally we had, as well as Ikelengi, and today we also had a rally in Kalumbila. And I must say, Ambassador, the energy here is amazing. I would say that in as much as this used to be a UPND stronghold since 2016, that is not what it looks like anymore. People are very receptive of our presidential candidate, Brian Mundubile. And this makes us very happy, because it just shows the sign that the Zambian people in general, despite of the region, they are just ready for change and they would like to see better leadership.
How has Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu been received? Because other than being on podiums, you guys go to radio station, you are in the community every time you are in every area. Do you sense a window of change?
Yes, Ambassador. Of course, we do sense a wind of change, and that is largely coming from communities. Most of the places that we've visited, we've gotten very positive reception, except for certain incidents that have happened in the last few days. We had an incident in Kitwe, where we were attacked at the hotel we were lodging, and then yesterday we were actually blocked on the way to Mwinilunga, where they let us through one barricade, and then they blocked us basically from the front and from the back, with efforts to, of course, cause harm. Some of them were actually pointing guns at us to identify who we were. But, well, having sensed the danger, we were quick to get away. So this place, Northwestern Province, of course, is a very interesting place, because for a very long time it's been a point of strength for the UPND. But when you talk to the locals and interact in the community, that does not seem like the mood. However, much of the retaliation that we are getting in this area is coming from the cadres themselves. The UPND cadres seem to have resorted to violence, maybe to stop us in our tracks, but we have actually pledged to keep fighting and keep moving. So our campaign will go on as scheduled and as planned. But with regards to the wind of change, I think that is something that is quite evident in the areas that it had so far.
And who experienced the attack today? Is it you? Is it the artist? Is it the convoy?
It was the artist. It was the artist, Rich Busy, Chester, as well as Gaddafi, and Shenki Sugar, as well as Cascade. They experienced this attack from UPND cadres while they were trying to refuel at a gas station. And while they were in the quick store to try and buy some food, they noticed that the UPND had arrived in Land Cruisers, and from that time they knew they were in trouble, because Shenki actually got into the car while it was at the pump and decided to drive off before he could even pay for his gas, simply because he had to protect himself and the vehicle. And the rest of the group was still in the quick mart, and they had to basically lock themselves in the manager's office just to protect them from the cadres. By the time reinforcement came to come and protect our artist, it took nearly 1 hour, 30 minutes they were locked in that office. And from the reports I got from Rich Busy and Chester himself, I spoke to this afternoon. They were saying the situation was really intense. They actually felt like the UPND cadres were going to bring the gas station down just to harm the artist in some way, because they believe the artists are a big contributing factor to why we've been having a very successful campaign.
Thank you, Tim. I'll come back to you shortly, and you quickly tell us what the issues are in Northwestern Province. What are you picking up? Is it the issues of God and young people? How is the issue of farming, the issues of infrastructure, roads, schools and others? What are you picking up? But let me play this from a senior member and founder member of the UPND. He sent me this video. Let's listen to him briefly.
My name is Henry Kabinga. I am a senior citizen and a concerned one at that. I was the first elected National Management Committee chairman of local government and housing under the UPND in 2001, after we formed that party in 1998 under Mr. Anderson Kambela Mazoka. I want to debunk the myth that is trending, which suggests that Northwestern Province is a bedroom of the UPND. And I'll explain why it is not. And I'll do this by giving the voting patterns of Northwestern Province from the time we returned to multipartyism. In 1991, like most of the country, we went with the MMD. In 2001, we went with the UPND after its formation in 1998. With 9 out of 12 parliamentary seats going to the UPND and MMD only having 3. The script flipped after 2006 when Mr. Levi Mwanawasa changed the narrative for this place, for this Northwestern, where he actually won more seats in Parliament and the UPND was reduced to a second position. This continued even into 2011, where the MMD still maintained their lead, their supremacy in Northwestern Province. The only time that the UPND came back was 2016, when they went back to the UPND. The Northwestern Province went back to the UPND. And this continued with the landslide that we saw in 2021. What I'm trying to say here is that we have never had permanent loyalties based on tribe, based on region, or based on artificial loyalties. We are now saying that we are not going to go with the current government because it has disappointed the people of Northwestern Province. The UPND government has not answered to the needs of the Northwestern Province. So I'm asking our people to vote out the UPND and vote in the NRPUP this year, because we have never, as other people think, been a bedroom for any party. We have always changed whenever it needed to be.
That's a founder member of the UPND, hailing from Northwestern Province. And Henry has given his views very clearly, how the voting pattern has been, and that the mood is that they're looking for a leader. And Honorable Brian Mundubile may just benefit from these strong feelings in Northwestern Province. Tell us your feel. You've been there the last 4 or 5 days.
Hello, Ambassador.
Yes, please tell us.
First, I wanted to start to introduce myself. I'm Swilanji Nkua.
Thank you, Swilanji. Make your view.
Yes. So I would like to speak to the status of the roads. I have not been to Mwinilunga until yesterday, and it is quite a sorry sight to see how bad the road is to get to Mwinilunga and also to reach Ikelenge. And especially that the UPND say, or rather claim, that Western Province is their stronghold. It doesn't add up for them to claim that it is a stronghold, and it is what is clear to us is that the Northwestern Province is underdeveloped. And it was interesting at Ikelenge when President Brian Mundubile indicated that he would work on the road to Mwinilunga and Ikelenge. And also I feel in the past 5 years, looking at the status of the roads, the UPND, I understand the reception that President Mundubile received. The reception from the people was very good, because they are really looking forward to work with President Mundubile and the NRPUP.
Chabota, what's your view?
Well, my view, Ambassador, is this. We've traveled what we could say 70-80% of the country. We've got to see many places and what this country needs. And in my view, what I have come to observe is that apart from Solwezi, Northwestern doesn't have really much to what we could point at to say in terms of development. In as much as Northwestern produces majority of the copper that we export or produce in this country, there is not so much that you could show that this province produces 80% of the copper this country produces. When you take a look at just infrastructure away from the roads, you will discover that even just basic, the towns don't even have proper filling stations. Like when we went to Mwinilunga, we only found one gas station, if I'm not mistaken. Can you imagine a town with only one gas station? Meaning, if there is no fuel at that gas station, then you're stuck, basically. So, the place is really underdeveloped, even just when you look at the infrastructure of the towns. Some towns, we thought we were just in a marketplace, only to discover, no, that's actually a town. So for the UPND to come and claim it's their stronghold when they have not given Northwestern anything of intrinsic value that could compel or make the people of Northwestern vote for this party, it's quite a very insane thing to actually think of. And the people of Northwestern want to see something different because, you see, they are now demanding. They're not asking for development from anyone. They're now demanding. And it's up to our candidate, Honorable Brian Mundubile, to actually now fulfill what the people of Northwestern have been daily asking for the past more than 60 years. So this is their chance to actually see their province be a better place compared to the rest of the country.
Ambassador, I would like to add on that. You see, when a president has had their first term in office, the premise of re-election is founded on the works that they have done over the first term. When President Hichilema was campaigning for his first term prior to 2021, he promised a lot of things across the board and also to this province. One of those key things was, for example, a university, at least in Northwestern Province. The other key things that affects this area has been, the formalization of small-scale miners, artisanal miners, giving them equipment and mining partnerships and so on and so forth. But these things are things that she's not been able to do. Look at this. In recent years, we actually discovered our gold deposits in Kasempa and Mfumbwe and surrounding areas. That was, for me, a golden opportunity for President Hichilema to actually deliver for the people of Northwestern Province by saying, okay, look, let us formalize this industry. Let us empower the young people, the businessmen, the women through these minerals. But instead, what did we see? We saw soldiers move in, lives were taken, equipment that people struggled to buy, like gensets, were all bent down. So I feel like President Hichilema lost out on a very good opportunity to deliver for this place. And now that he's seeking re-election, what he should have been doing is to say, look, you people, this is what I said I would do prior to 2021. You gave me 5 years in office, and this is what I have done for you. As opposed to where he keeps trying to radicalize people in this area, thinking that they're marginalized from the rest of the country. There's very little that one can point at that President Hakainde and the UPND administration have done for this province. So I feel like, just as we heard from our big man in the video clip you played earlier, I feel like a president's election must be based on merit. And if you give them the opportunity to deliver within the first term, but they fail, then it is fine to try a different option. And I think that is what should happen for the people of Zambia and Northwestern Province.
Thank you very much. Danson na teka nyansha landa nefiachita Danson na nzakulula. Indeed, Northwestern Province, worries all of us. It's like when you were seeing Chief Nkana, Senior Chief Nkana, and the largest emerald mines in the world are mined in his area. And look at his palace, look at the infrastructure around that area. One of the biggest copper and cobalt mines, Mopani, is literally in his area. And historically, as a senior chief, he's been literally hasn't been dealt well in the last 120 years, because all the copper, all the mines that have come from the copper belt, a place that was usually under him, nothing to benefit. And we see that. For Northwestern Province is currently producing $5 billion worth of copper, gold, and other minerals every year. $5 billion. Kansanshi mine, Sentinel mine, and Lumwana mine, these are some of the largest mines in Africa, not just in Zambia, in Africa. And to the picture you have painted is totally a pitiful sight, that is something that needs to be done urgently. And I hope that Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu speak to these issues and assure the people that, a new dawn probably is coming. We now go to the issues that I raised. Anyone can comment. Let's start with the issue of Yui Mwala. He's not a small boy. This is Copperbelt Police Provincial Commander. is very big. We know that there's a cartel of thieves, some former ministers, just recently past ministers, that have been involved in stealing copper, both from our mines and the ones transiting from the DRC. This particular one, they seem to have arrested only because of the connection, I think, and the embarrassment that it may bring, especially to Zambia. But the copper theft have been going on. And Ngavalela Wapompwe. So people now are asking, Wapompwe ni wani? Here we are. Yui Mwala, one of their favorite police commissioner, enforcer of brutality, enforcer of human rights abuses. When you see Yui Mwala, is a very commanding personality, is extremely tall, imposing, and he represents terror, and has been a good instrument to President Hakainde Hichilema and the police. They wouldn't like to embarrass him like this, but there's a reason why he's being embarrassed like this. Just speak to this Yui Mwala and the copper theft, where a senior police officer who was running the province, a magistrate, police officers and others have been arrested. The boy is open. Maybe let's start with the mayor, then I bring it to the boys.
Yes, Ambassador. Just confirm I'm still audible.
Yes, Mayor. I can hear you.
Yes. This issue of the police commissioner being involved in this scam, it's very embarrassing. But for me personally, the first question is, why the Commissioner Yui moved to the Copper Belt? What was the justification for moving him to the Copper Belt? Was it strategic? Was it intentional? Because we do not understand why the same Yui who was seen to be working very well in Lusaka, leading teams with grinders, going to trouble our late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, may his soul rest in peace, grinding on his gate, bringing tow trucks to try and bulldoze that gate. He was termed to have been a very good commissioner, hardworking and doing well. You move him out of Lusaka to Copper Belt, which is the second largest province. Ideally, that should be a demotion. So what justified that demotion? But with these revelations that you are beginning to see, that he was involved in all these deals, and like you said, limbi, it's just because so we must be questioning what was the reason for him being moved. We will leave that food for thought to the people of Zambia. But it also brings me to the issue of what we were promised when we were told that all matters that are critical and of public interest shall be televised. You might recall, Ambassador, that the case for our late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, which was in the Concord about his eligibility, was televised. Although we will only televise the judgment, we should have wanted to see the whole case. From there, we were promised that anything that is of public interest shall be televised. To date, we have never seen anything regarding the gold scandal at the airport. Who was involved in that gold scandal? We've never been told. To date, like you said, Kwale trucks, which were told were impounded at a police station, and those trucks, somehow we woke up in the morning and they disappeared. There is no justification as to where they went. There is no story behind that issue. So you can simply say that we only learn of these things when they don't go in the favor of certain people who are supposed to benefit from those things. Beyond that, I know you're focusing on minerals, you're focusing on gold, you're focusing on copper, but there are also issues to do with Mukula trees. You may recall that Mukula trees were also seen to be leaving the country, and at some point they were reported to have spewed off some truck, I think near Chirundu or Siavonga or thereabout. Those are matters that Zambians might have forgotten, but it is our job to remind them that there were these issues as well, which Zambians must be questioning. We must also remember that there was a time that roadblocks in Zambia were removed. And people were wondering why Mref Nyabama roadblocks are. All those things beg answers. You go to Chirilabombwe, where young people are trying to make a living here and there. You may recall by Emmanuel Mamba that there were stories of milling being smuggled by suspected government officials and the ministers or former ministers. There were issues of maize passing through this border at Ndola into Congo. We have all those matters and all those issues, and all those things beg answers. So it's just that even when people do whistleblowing, you'll be the one in court being told, let's go and explain. But all the signs and symptoms of corruption, of theft, of being a pompe are very clear. Just from the first week, I think it was the first week or the first month of this government forming government, didn't we see ministers going to Sinoma with a briefcase atayire mukusenda bopen, mukusenda diary, mukusenda na calendar, briefcase chisaka chukwa bag, you want to get a bopen and diary. So this government, to me, I think qualifies hypothetically, or at least we have reasonable cause to say this is a government of thieves and government that doesn't care about the people.
Wonderful, Mayor. Wonderful. Let me bring in the boys. Guys, what are your views about the arrest of Yui Mwala, former Copperbelt Province Police Commissioner or Police Commander, as they call them now?
Ambassador, before I come in, concerning arrest of Yui or Mr. Yui, I just want to comment on how Northwestern has received President Brian Mundubiri. Personally, I didn't expect President Brian Mundubiri to be received in such a manner. The reception that we have seen, or the reception that we have gotten, it's out of this world. Because, President Hakainde Hichilema has been singing this song that Northwestern, Western, and Southern Province, these are his bedroom. But when you come into what is Northwestern, you find that the people of Northwestern have changed their mind. They no longer want UPND. The only problem that we have is that we are seeing UPND cadres mobilizing themselves, even what is aspiring MPs mobilizing these cadres to attack our presidential motorcade, our members, our musicians, because they know that the people of Northwestern have changed. And the reason why they have changed is because a lot of things were promised to the people of Northwestern. But when you look at the things that have been delivered, you find that literally none has been delivered to the people of Northwestern. But when you look at the amount of gold and copper that is coming out from Northwestern, you'll be amazed. The amount of money that Northwestern contributes to our economy is so much. But when you look at Northwestern, you find bad roads, unemployment. And when it comes to empowerment is a big challenge. Youths here were promised that they will have mines, they will be suppliers, there will be contractors in mines. But when you come on the ground, it's a sorry sight. And I feel that the people of Northwestern want change because they felt that President Hakainde Hichilema would deliver in 5 years, because he was giving time frames. He was saying, no, for me, or when you usher us into office, within our 5-year mandate, we'll be able to deliver a university. But this time around, every time he's in Northwestern, he always says, no, we'll deliver a university. So when is that university coming to Northwestern? President Hakainde Hichilema, that's a question for you. Then coming to the issue of the arrest of Mr. Yui. Personally, I feel that Mr. Yui is now useless to the UPND, because the UPND have that thing of using people. Once they use you, they will dump you. And because of what happened on the Copperbelt, a lot of people expected that the police will block NRPOP. But because of the resistance that they got, they failed. And the police command, Mr. Yui, did his best, but unfortunately, he was overpowered by how the people reacted. And now I feel he has become useless to them. So it's time for them now to get rid of him. I think thank you very much.
You know, to add on to that, Ambassador,
Yeah, please, thank you.
about Commissioner Yui. I've met him on multiple occasions. The first time when we had a rally in Kitwe, when the campaigns just started, when we had a rally at the Kitwe playing fields. Before that rally, actually, he came to the Garden Court Hotel where we were, and he just showed up. So I went and just said hello to him. I just wanted to know where he was standing. One thing I got for sure is that Officer Yui took pride in the position that he had. He was a very confident man, and reducing him to this, be it whether he's guilty or not, that's for the courts to decide. But I genuinely believe it all comes down to his maybe failure to stop the NRPUP from holding rallies and all the political activities that we have successfully had in the Copperbelt province. Because you see, I always wonder how and why would a matter of this magnitude that is being alleged could come out now at a time like this. Are we sure that if this case is there truly, Commissioner Yui should have not been brought to book, maybe even months, years before this? But for it to just come out at a time like this one, I find it to be very convenient. I feel like my colleague here, we feel like he just didn't deliver to the powers that be. And now this is just a way to punish him, even though he's guilty or not. But this could be one of the factors. But at the end of the day, that's just my perspective and what I believe.
Any other?
Well, for me, Ambassador, I feel the issue of law and order should be impartial, right? For us to actually deliver justice to people and to any citizen of the Republic, we must be impartial, regardless of your alignment with any institution, political party, and so on. But when you think about the corruption allegations over the past 5 years in review currently, you will come to understand that there's a number of allegations that actually came out, and we did not see so much action taken in terms of trying to get to the bottom of those allegations. Some issues were kind of ignored, just like we were talking about the containers of Sugilite. We also questioned the issue of the 61 containers of medicines. We have also questioned certain deals that we have seen, like the Lusaka-Ndola dual carriageway, like the Canona Energy, the Mopani deal. So we've had all these corruption allegations coming in, but we've not seen so much action. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I recall having read a headline that suggested that recently the president was saying a former member from Mazabuka was getting a 10% cut in some transaction over a period of time. So we don't know if actually that is what led to the dismissal from him being local government minister and later on expelled from the party. But actually, he wasn't expelled. He did resign, but he was fired from his ministerial position. So you can whether your issues of corruption or allegations of corruption just be ignored or under the carpet for as long as your loyalty sticks with the powers that be. That is one thing that I think raises a lot of concern for me, because we know that over the years, if we actually did a full investigation into the allegation against Mr. Yui, perhaps we will find that there's a lot more stuff that happened in the past. And now we are getting this revelation of something that happened 4 or 5 months ago at this particular point in time. Could it be that, like my friends have said here, suggested that is it that he's no longer in good books with the powers that be? And if that is the case, can we guarantee Zambians of fair justice at the end of the day? So that is an issue for me that I think needs serious attention.
Yeah, let me bring in the mayor. Mayor, Sujilite, $750 million estimated value. We don't even know where the truck is. We last saw that it was parked at the police station in Kabwe. Look at the attention that has been given to this matter of just $450,000 worth of copper. And another matter that the country may not know, we understand that Graphel Musamba's contract came to an end. And there are two Deputy Inspector General of Police, one for administration, Charity Muntanga, and Fred Hamalwa, who's for operations. And then people like Yui are those that are being looked at as successor to Graphel Musamba. And even Graphel Musamba himself probably wants another contract. There are all these dynamics. But the Sujilite issue, the police command issue, and the parading of Yui, is this real fighting corruption, or there's something behind it? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Ambassador. Well, my response to that is very straightforward. We are in survival period. I think this is where we are. Each man for himself. 14 days to voting. Do you save your lieutenants or you save yourself? I think this is where we are. So we had issues to do with Sujilite that should have been attended to way back. 750 million, that's a lot more money, twice as much as the 400 million that we are hearing of the copper. And then when you look at the Sujilite deal, this was what I would call Zambian money.
100 times bigger. $450,000 and $750 million.
Exactly. And then when you look at those figures, you realize that is being talked about is money that really involves a private entity. But the other money involved the Zambian people, just like the money that has been talked about, the $100 million worth of containers that were marooned in somewhere in Makeni. We have lost support from the US government on that basis. Every year we're now being cut $50 million worth. Beyond that, there are issues to do with fuel. Remember, we're told that it was supposed to be 10 kwacha or 12 kwacha, and that the PF was getting 2 kwacha. It skyrocketed all the way up to about 35 kwacha per liter. And so how much money is being gotten by those guys in the commissions? You might remember there were people, somebody's husband, a husband to a minister who I don't want to name, so that not kept out of mayoral office just because of a simple court case. But everybody knows about the issue of the fertilizer deal, about the person who was lost $50 million worth of fertilizer deal. So this government has been a government of deals. You have containers of sewage that are just disappear. We've also heard about mines that are co-owned by people that are closest to the powers that be. You know, some national youth chairperson there and some lady somewhere who we don't want to name. We've also heard about all those things. All those things are not being discussed, are not being brought to the fore. It's because everything points to one direction. I believe firmly that the president has the right intel. You might recall that President Hakainde Hichilema at some point, Republican president said he received information either at the same time or before the incumbent president was. So we expect that now that he's president of the Republic of Zambia, that he even has most information. How come these things are passing him? How come for 4 months he did not know that you had stolen? If at all he had really stolen. How come nobody knows to date where this went? How come we have not been addressed about the gold scandal? Did the Sujilite disappear by witchcraft? If it did disappear by witchcraft, we have a government which has proven in court that they were witches who wanted to bewitch the president. Why can't we use the same court process to identify and fish out where those containers of Sujilite went? So for me, I think everything, the buck stops at the head of state.
I think we should bring you as mayor because a colleague of mine, a professor, has sent me a text that the brief you gave just about what you want to do for Lusaka is extremely inspiring. But he says you are facing your opponent who's a social media citizen. And do you feel that you are being disadvantaged? And he says, Ambassador, give him an example of Volodymyr Zelensky in Ukraine. This is a comedian on TV, and people mistook him for leadership and proceeded to vote for him. So he's saying we might lose a good mayor because he's facing a social media citizen. How are you tackling that, and what do you think? And I think you need to come back. We just discussed your vision of Lusaka. But answer to that for a friend of mine, the professor who just texted me that we may lose a good mayor.
That's a good question, a great question. And honestly, a source of concern for me. If we are teaching the right civic education and the right civics, then people of Zambia should be able to understand rhetoric from visionary leadership. And also, anybody that has done research will tell you that when cipher and look at the pool of the so-called followers, we start removing those from the diaspora, remove those from Mongola, from Quito, from Chipata, those who don't vote. They're going to remain with a pantry, maybe 100,000. Within those, there are those people who follow you. Let me just use this term lightly or loosely. They follow you for your munguru, okay? When it becomes serious business, people want to hear your vision. It's like Ronaldo saying, oh, today I've become a pastor, I'm born again. It doesn't mean that the millions of followers that they have are suddenly going to become Christians, even if they were Muslims. They want to be convinced by the vision. I don't spend a lot of time on these people who sponsor their likes. Ambassador, you know these things. I can go into Facebook and pay for my likes, pay for engagement, but I'm simply cheating myself. My business is to make sure that in Lusaka, I focus on addressing the problems of Lusaka. For example, problem number one, we have traffic congestion in Lusaka. With my experience, I must be able to push for an agenda that creates dedicated bus lanes for Lusaka residents so that we decongest the city of Lusaka. I must be able to tell the people that when I meet the vendors, and by the way, I've met the vendors several times, although in town we were being stoned when we went with Madam Charity Lumpa, so we met them on the sides. And I explained to them my vision, that I'm looking for a time when we're going to have a dedicated streets for vending. Apart from the dedicated streets, we should have dedicated days, just like we have Tuesday market, Thursday market, Saturday market in town. And then, if feasible, let's also have dedicated vending hours. We can start around 14, maybe finish at 18 or 19 and have a clean city. And it's not every product that you must sell. You can't sell certain foodstuffs, for example, but you can sell dry things, you can sell clothes and so on. I've had that discussion. That's a vision. I must be thinking about how do we harvest rainwater and provide water to the compounds. People don't have water. Why should I be concerned a lot more about just trash when I already have a plan for trash? Like I gave you an example, we'll be creating garbage kiosks around the markets so that when a market, as they knock off, they pick their 2-3 plastics, they take out the garbage kiosk, they get a 20 bus, they go home and come back tomorrow. The reason to keep the city clean because there is an extrinsic motivation factor that they're investing in. Lastly, again, Ambassador, we have real issues. We don't even have dignified burial sites in Lusaka. I should be worried about where do I find the land? How do you strike a balance between high-cost burial sites and dignified burial? There's so much that we can do in Lusaka, including twinning the city of Lusaka with other cities out of the country. When we go in the long term, Ambassador, I'm envisioning a time CBDs. In Kablonga, we should have some sort of a town. You can't all be converging in town, the so-called town. Everybody wants to go to town, Lumumba Road. You want to go to town, Cairo Road. I want in the next couple of years, Lusaka should have dedicated mini CBDs. Kalingaringa should be a small town. Chilenje should be a small town. Makeni should have a small town. That way you decongest the city. I know some people have made funny promises, but I tell you that once elected as mayor of the great city of Lusaka on 13th August, two things are going to happen. We have immediate things that we're going to address within the first 90 days. Make sure that all the drainages are cleared. Make sure that we introduce a law or a bylaw that compels all companies and houses to have at least 3 colored coded bins. Garbage must be separated at source. I must be able to put plastics in a particular bin, put paper in a different bin, and put biodegradable in a different bin. Then we can be having a clean city. By the way, we have reduced this mayoral debate to just picking paper and picking trash. That is not a major role of a mayor. And it's not even problem number one in Zambia, by the way. Problem number one is traffic congestion. Problem number two in Zambia is water. Problem number three is expensive housing. Problem number four is a sanitation problem. So you can't bring problem number four to become the main thing that preoccupies our discourse as a mayoral candidates. No, we must be working with facts and working with data. So I do place of Lusaka a quality mayoral candidate that is inclusive and open-minded, and one that makes sure that we focus on co-creating solutions with all the stakeholders.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll be going to, we have 3 issues on our table. So the arrest of Xavier Chungwa in detention, Macpherson Mukokazede embassy reporter, and our own Deputy Secretary General, Kenneth Kamba. I'll solicit for your views. Then we'll discuss the issue of running mates. And the matter is coming up in court, and we have to discuss that. Then we'll end just with the thorough issues before we open the phone lines.
Have been patient as Northwestern Province. We have been loyal. We have also been productive to this nation. We have come to the conclusion that our patience and our loyalty has not paid fruits. We are therefore at the moment very frustrated with what has been happening in the past 20 years. Our concern, therefore, is that we need to benefit from the investment that is currently in this province. As you are aware, we are hosting 3 big mines which are contributing immensely to the treasury of this country. But alas, there is very little to show, if any, in our province. We feel that the successful governments have not appreciated this province. I want to say that we haven't been very objective in the manner we have been voting. We haven't been voting based on deliverables. We have been voting based on relationships that do not benefit us, relationships that is stealing the future of our children. We wish to state that whilst the current government has implemented some mega projects.
Kabush constituency kuliko ka problem zote ko naba kanini Kabush constituency kuliko iminine ba atinani yo ukukuli uwa UPND uli imeoda mpumpuni eminine na ba Titus Stylus Sichinga Telampi now imeoda mpumpuni fuale chitamwe bantu bakwalesa imeoda mpumpuni alesenda abantu ngabasenda abantu padola hiumo bali okwabomba kuma Chinese alebe bati lete na voters cards aleba pela maduve imagine duve ya 130 kwacha na ka 10 kg kabunga ngabasha ya voters cards aleshala aocha nomba kusheta kuli abanga mchitako report mwe bantu fyo ale chita ukocha ama voters cards.
TIZ election monitors have received reports alleging that members of the United Party for National Development, UPND, have been collecting voters' card numbers and national registration card details from members of the public in Luangeni district in Eastern Province, Zambezi and Mwinilunga districts in Northwestern Province, Mansa district in Luapula Province, Monze district in Southern Province, and Kasama district in Northern Province, among other locations. While TIZ continues to monitor and verify these reports, the practice in the districts where it has been observed has generated concern among citizens regarding the purpose for which this information is being collected. The secrecy of the ballot is one of the cornerstones of any democratic election. Therefore, any practice that creates the perception that a person's vote can be tracked, can be monitored, or can be linked to information that is being collected by political actors has the potential to undermine public confidence in the entirety of the electoral process. Beyond electoral integrity, the collection of personal information during campaigns also raises important questions regarding privacy, informed consent, and the protection of citizens.
I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem then. I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem then.
Errors, debt restructuring, the damage in the mines, law and order. Twali wambuloji mwalunga mujoma mwakwera basi weyakulusaga intercity guseruka buyombo woserugira ate basi ya wakujoma ate vimenye nivi batoka kuchoma hivi vimenye nivi ati tundu mwezi singombe wakabape abantu bali kumwa ati tundu mwezi ati mbaba hota maningi kuhotela akaende hamuba ome winter city sunu ya.
We are back to issues of campaign, and I put a few videos for your thoughts as I inspire you. Let's discuss the arrest of Xavier Chung. He was a presidential candidate. He just held 2 interviews and he's been locked up since then. And his fundamental right has been denied to participate in elections. Then we have the case of Macpherson Mukuka, and over 5 international organizations have demanded for his immediate release. Because if you look at the case, assuming he's guilty, is only whistleblowing on civil servants that were plotting to undermine the electoral process, interfere with the electoral process. At the heart of it, if he was guilty, what he was doing was whistleblowing. And then Kenneth Kamba, who's in charge of vote protection. Let me start with the boys before I come to the mayor. Tell us what your views are, guys.
Okay, so I'll pick on the issue of Mr. Mukuka, the journalist who's been detained for basically whistleblowing. It goes back to what we were fighting last year, Ambassador. Remember the last time I was on your on the Emmanuel Mwamba Verified, I had stated that the reason for the cyber laws was not to really curb cyber crime, but only to basically close a few mouths. And that was the reason why the cyber laws was enacted. And we are now starting to see what the cyber laws are doing to whistleblowers. You see, there should be the Whistleblowers Act, which protects whistleblowers from crimes that they have witnessed, and then they bring it to the public or to the media. You would think in a ideal country, we would see the allegations or the evidence that Mr. Mkuka presented via a recording. You would think the justice system would start investigating those issues. But no, they didn't. They would rather arrest, detain, or lock up, or even basically persecute the person who released that information. And it all comes back to what I've always been saying. The UPND are like they're like a party that just closes loopholes for the crimes they commit through lawfare, basically. So this is the issue. If you remember, a few months ago, as we were still fighting over the undemocratic and unconstitutional Bill 7, the UPND administration presented the journalism bill, which was also another bill just to try and curb and close a few mouths for the journalists. Now imagine if that law was brought to parliament, it was voted upon, went through, and later on enacted or assented by President Haga in the Parliament. Imagine how many journalists would be locked up today. And this is the reason why I, for one, believe that the UPND administration cannot stomach criticism, and they're just simply the dictatorial administration I've always thought they were. And the issue of Mr. Mkuka is no surprise to me, sadly.
Guys, any view?
Well, for me, Ambassador, perhaps I could speak on the issue of our Secretary General for Vote Protection, Mr. Kennedy Kamba, who was arrested at the airport. You know, the issue of vote protection has been a very important subject in our campaign this year. Starting from within ourselves as members of the Alliance and spilling over to the general public, everybody seems to be talking about, look, let us protect our vote. Let us ensure that nobody steals our vote, because we want change. That is what people are talking about. So where that reached my desk is that our SG was on the way to the airport, actually went to the airport to monitor or maybe witness the arrival of the ballot papers. Witness that arrival. And suddenly, while we were coming to Solwezi, we heard that he had been apprehended at the airport. So that raises serious questions to begin with. Firstly, like we had stated at first, could this story about Mr. Yui also be something that would derail our attention from the ballot papers? There is allegations that there is also a parallel company that printed a batch of ballot papers in Tanzania. Okay, so if we have our SG for vote protection arrested and then taken out of the equation, how then are we supposed to call this a free and fair election when we could not have somebody representing us at the airport to receive or at least witness the arrival of the ballot papers? I feel like the UPND administration is doing the best it can to use the government machinery to just slow down the efforts that we are making in the opposition towards the general election in August.
Thank you very much. Let me go to the mayor if our guys are done. Mayor, we have the Public Interest Disclosure Act. Yes.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on
Yes,
the
please
arrest
go
of
ahead.
and I believe that Mr. Xavier Chungu is still detained. Yeah, so I wanted to add a comment on that one. When you look at the way things are being done under the UPND, they promised us that we'll get justice when you are arrested. Yeah, so, but now what we are seeing is that unless you're in good books with the UPND, that's when you are going to get that justice. Yeah, justice. That's when you're going to get it. Because when you look at Chilvia Tayari, we all knew how his cases were. He wasn't in good books with the UPND by then. But after coming back, he's in good books with them. But where his cases? Yeah, the cases have just disappeared without any explanation from the government oh, the boat. Yeah. So what? Oh yeah. So for me personally, I feel justice is only given to you if you're in good books with the UPNG, and it's very unfair. Whatever is happening to Mr. Xavier Chungu is uncalled for, and we demand that Mr. Xavier Chungu should be given bond and justice. Thank you.
Ambassador,
Thank you
just
very
a
much.
quick
Yes,
one.
justice is
Just a
selective.
quick
It
one,
is very
Ambassador.
clear. Yes, Kuzwayo.
Yeah. You know, a government that clamps down on whistleblowers is a government that might be involved in most of the issues that are brought to question. So if we have a government that is clamping down on journalists, and what we are seeing with presidential aspirant Mr. Xavier, you start to question to say, is this government actually a part and parcel of what we are hearing? Because what you would expect is for the government to actually embrace those that blow the whistle on certain crimes. But if they are clamping down on the whistleblowers, then you begin to speculate and say, perhaps it's the government actually involved in everything.
Yeah. Mayor, I was saying the country has a Public Interest Disclosure Act number 4 of 2010. This is the Protection of Whistleblowers Act. But of course, it's been overtaken by these cyber laws. And look at the case of Cephas Mukuka. But you are free, Mayor, to comment about either the arrest of Xavier Chungu or Kennedy Kamba, Deputy Secretary General, or Macpherson Mukuka from ZNBC.
Yeah, thank you, Ambassador. You know, things to do with the law and the Constitution must be read and interpreted more or less like the way the Bible is. You don't read one verse in the Bible and then not read the other one and try and then draw conclusions. So similarly, when you look at the law, the Constitution of Zambia, we have the Public Interest Disclosure, which is the Whistleblower Act, number 4 of 2010. That gives the protection to citizens and in public and private sector to be able to disclose anything that is of public interest, whether it is corruption, whether it is some illegalities. They must be protected from victimization, among other things. But then you go and create a law that is the total opposite, where you tell people you cannot record any illegal activity that you see without getting permission. How do you go to a Kawara and say, "Wane embekezani vemchita first near phone? Nifuna nikukope nkone I want to share with the public." Honestly, who does that? So this government created a law on one end, or let me say they inherited a law on one end, and then went and further modified the Cyber Security Act, which we had. Because the act that we had under the PF was all-encompassing already. But what they went was to split it into two. Split it in a way that it targets individuals, and then split it in a way that it also targets the media more especially. So we have a situation where somebody who means well for the country, he realizes that these guys are stealing from, they are trying to take away the rights of 22 million Zambians from deciding their own fate. In this conversation they are having, it is pointing to electioneering. The guy makes a recording, publishes it, they take him to court, put him on his defense. It's a matter in court, we cannot say much about it, but on face value, it becomes very questionable as to whether the journalists in Zambia now have the freedom to practice what is called investigative journalism. That right and that role of journalism being a fourth estate has been taken away from them. Second, you look at a person like Kennedy Kamba, like my colleagues have said, our member of the Central Committee is in charge of defending our election, making sure that there is no malpractice. He goes on duty. His main duty, his duty starts at the airport. The moment those ballot papers arrive, he is our watchdog, he's our guard. Ma ballot paper Africa Maronda Vachosap. What kind of election are we going to have? They should have allowed him. He's not a risk. There is no indication that Kennedy Kamba who voluntarily, at his own volition, went to the airport, would have found a way to run away. He had probably no clue he was going to be arrested. Kenneth Kamba should have been allowed to see for himself the ballots that have come, play his role. They even knew he's a registered official because you have to take accreditation for you to participate in that. For us, that raises a lot of questions. Number three, President Xavier Chungu, his sentiments also border around elections. I think some of the comments that he talked about was the fact that the president is fully aware and the system is fully aware that he's losing. So everything, all these three people have been arrested with something to do with elections. But I wouldn't be surprised with the UPND that they'd like to take away potential candidates in this election. You may recall, Ambassador Mamba, that this is the first time in the history of Zambia.
Let me just interrupt, Mayor. You brought a very fundamental issue. Xavier Chungu, if you analyze what he said, first of all, he just spoke about the past privatization. He alleged corruption in the privatization process. And it is clear President Hakainde Hichilema was in the thick of things of privatization. But there is something he said, and this is just a week after nominations. Campaigns hadn't started. I think Mpezeni hadn't died. There are all these developments that hadn't taken. No rally had taken place at the time. And he said the president is likely going to lose. His former intelligence chief, his antennas must have been very high, and that is why they caged him. Now look at what we are seeing with the wave and tide for Brian Mundwile and Makebi Zulu. Exactly what he stated 2 months ago, Xavier Chungu, before the big rallies even began to happen. So you can see that the role of the police has been to silence him. And sorry guys, on Kenneth Kamba, he was going to the airport to pick his daughter who was coming from Malaysia. I just wanted us to provide just that clarification. But the arrest remains illegal. We think that is being taken away because he's in charge of vote protection. So continue, Mayor.
Yeah, so, and thanks for that. So he was arrested on a different day, but same result, you know, at the end of the day, he's not participating in the monitoring of this election. So I was buttressing a point that we in Zambia, for the first time, we went to file in nominations, jittery, shaking, not knowing which party we're going to use. For the first time in Zambia, filing in nomination calls for celebration in Zambia. But again, to just show you how much the UPND government would have loved to go unopposed, you will notice that the previous parties that ruled Zambia, for the first time, they are all not appearing on the ballot. UNIP is not on the ballot for the first time. MMD is not on the ballot for the first time. PF, the previous ruling party, is not on the ballot for the first time. What kind of democracy are we experiencing in Zambia right now? It means things have changed. We are living in extraordinary times, things that we did not ever anticipate. And from the way that this government has changed the laws in the final week before Parliament dissolved, where there are 72 or 73 bills to pass, one of the fundamental things that they did was to remove the need for us to file in fresh nominations whenever somebody withdrew from the race. And for me, given a chance, this UPND government would have wanted for our party president, Brian Mundwile and Makebi Zulu, not to be on the ballot. And all others who are friendly forces, by now they could have resigned. This is my own hypothesis. They would have actually resigned, would have had a president who's probably unopposed for the first time in Zambia. Because there is no way, absolutely no way, that you can create a law that suddenly people have found it very attractive, very responsible, that they should just be resigning and allowing people to go unopposed. You prepare for 5 years to be a candidate, and suddenly you wake up and say, no, I just want my friend to go unopposed, especially when you are only two candidates, meaning both of you have a 50-50 chance of making it to parliament. It is definitely Mingalato, unfortunately Mingalato, that kills the democracy and governance of this country. We must wake up as Zambians, we must redeem this country and kick out this dictatorial government that we have. We can't continue living like this.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for those strong words. Guys, let's go to the last issue. The matters of the running mates that have resigned or withdrawn is coming up in court. Remember, in Zambia, it's a joint ticket. You can't file in without your running mate. And you have to carry the same constitutional eligibility of the president. And the history, like I stated earlier, is coming from what we suffered. We lost President Levi Mwanawasa and Michael Chilufya-Sata, and we were forced to go into elections within a period of 90 days. So a law was crafted that the ticket now becomes joint in the event that the office of the president becomes vacant for whatever purposes, whether death, whether resignation, withdrawal, or incapacitation, that office, the vice president takes over to avoid the cost of a by-election. Now here, we have 3 running mates that have withdrawn. Mayor, what are your thoughts about this? Do you think the ticket is valid for the existing single candidates?
Well, to be honest, I'm not a lawyer, but just being reasonable. It's like you've been invited to an event as a couple and you register online as a couple and the ticket is for 2, and suddenly you just walk into this building alone. People will be wondering, where is your spouse? Who is your partner? Because if there are games to play as a pair, who are you going to play with? You're bringing problems. But legally speaking, you could also be asking yourself the question, how then do we know that once you're elected, you're also going to give us a qualified candidate? Because now it means ECZ has to go through some sort of review of that candidacy, review of your qualifications, and then when you go back to the people again will be questioning to say, we have not subjected your running mate to the vote unless they're declaring that the running mate is irrelevant. But you realize that people may choose President Brian Mundubile in combination with President running mate Makebi Zulu, and they say the 2 of them put together, they complement each other. This other one maybe is a lot more forceful. This other one maybe is a lot more gentle. You see what I mean? And also in Zambia, may recall, issues to do with gender and issues to do with tribe and region are also very important. Okay. So if I go in as a candidate and I'm coming from Eastern Province and I pick a candidate from the Zambezi region who's coming from, let's say, Western Province, and that candidate, the running mate, withdraws, what guarantee is there that people are going to get this white balance after I've already won? I might as well pick my cousin from Eastern Province and the 2 of us become president and running mate. I may even put my wife if I want to. So in my view, I think this matter should be something that sort of nullifies the candidature of the person whose running mate has actually withdrawn. They do not complete the requirements for participating in that election. That is my view, and honestly, I'm not a lawyer.
Thank you. Let me throw it to the boys. Guys, what do you think?
Well, Ambassador, this issue of running mates that have withdrawn is one that we did actually discuss with the guys while we were in phase 1 of the campaign in Mansa. And much of what we talked about aligns with what the mayor has said. We spoke about the requirements for you to successfully file in as presidential candidate. And that means you need a running mate, all right? Without a running mate, you cannot file in as presidential candidate. Therefore, if in the days leading up to the election, your running mate withdraws, surely that should nullify your candidature, because just like the mayor said, it now puts you in a position where in the future, you could just pick anyone that meets the qualifications of the ECZ, the requirements of the ECZ to be VIP. But remember that people vote for a combined ticket. Just as the mayor said, we have one character like this and the other character that is like this, complementing each other. So people are voting for that pair. They're voting for that team. Therefore, if we just say after a candidate whose running mate withdrew wins an election, then they can impose a vice president on us, I think it's not sensible, it's not reasonable. If we say we are going to a cooking competition and the requirement is that you put on an apron, all right? And you walk into the kitchen, as you're walking into the kitchen, you take off that apron. Must you be allowed to participate in that contest? I don't think so. So I think all candidates whose running mates have withdrawn from a logical point of view must be nullified. It completely does not make any logical sense for them to actually carry on into the presidential race.
Thank you, guys. Team will be coming to a place where we receive phone calls. You know, this program is made by our callers. They are very dedicated callers, and they get annoyed, and the phones are ringing, especially that I'm hosting a power pack team like yourselves. But here are the few videos. Harry Calabar talking about this issue, and the vice president politicizing learners, students, and the president calling, as you can see, the phone lines are ringing. Please call us, just wait. We'll be going live soon, but just wait, just wait. And the president in Sesheke saying people should forget about Brian Munduvile and Makebi Zulu because he says, we buried them, they are at the cemetery. He had no idea that they are seeds and they've grown like bamboo, you know, like bamboo that goes up to 9 meters within a short period of time when it has been buried for over 5 years. So he thought Brian Munduvile and Makebi Zulu were buried. So let's listen to this, and then we open the phone lines. Stay on. You might need to answer this and that.
Citizens First Party President Harry Calabar has filed his response in the Constitutional Court, insisting that the withdrawal of his running mate does not invalidate his presidential nomination for the August 13th general election. Mr. Calabar is responding to a petition by Youth Alliance Party President Mike Mwachilenga, who is seeking orders declaring both Mr. Calabar and Organized People's Party President Brian Mushimba ineligible to contest the presidential election after their respective running mates withdrew following nominations. The petition also seeks to compel the Electoral Commission of Zambia to proceed with the election using only qualified candidates, or alternatively allow the two candidates to appoint new running mates. In his court filings, Mr. Calabar maintains that he was lawfully nominated together with a running mate in accordance with the Constitution and the Electoral Process Act. He argues that while his former running mate, Moses Mawere, announced his withdrawal, the Constitution contains no provision stating that such a withdrawal automatically nullifies a valid presidential nomination. Mr. Calabar further argues that the petitioner has misinterpreted Articles 90, 110, and 266 of the Constitution, insisting those provisions do not create automatic grounds for disqualification after nominations have closed. He has asked the Constitutional Court to dismiss the petition with costs, maintaining that he remains a validly nominated presidential candidate unless disqualified in accordance with the Constitution.
Those PF guys are people like we buried when they lost. We buried them at a graveyard in 2021. Don't take them out of the graveyard. Leave them there until Jesus comes on earth.
He had no idea that he had buried seeds and he had put them in the most fertile ground. We open the phone lines and let's hear what the callers are saying. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and make your contribution.
Okay, this is Anonymous from the dark side of the moon. I must commend our mayoral candidate for Lusaka because he has the credentials. He stated them. He speaks in context. He exemplifies confidence. He displays commitment. He appears competent. Like Martin Luther, he has posted his thesis on the castle. There is more to being a mayor than taking selfies and talking in a pseudo-American accent. He is credible and creditable. That's number one. Number two, sorry, I had to write it down because I kept trying to call.
You are allowed. Proceed, my brother. Proceed.
Yeah. Paliba Yui your story sounds a bit far-fetched. I've read so many novels and I've watched so many movies, and the logistics that are involved just stealing a truck, taking it across borders and this and that. It has so many weaknesses. I suspect this guy is just a fall guy because he didn't carry out an instruction, or he fell short of fulfilling that instruction. So that issue of copper, I think it's a bit it's a bit far for me. And the last one is the issue of the Black Mountain. Both candidates, are promising these youths that more we come into power. Black Mountain, Kachisenda. Black Mountain, what is that? Those are crumbs from the table. We should be talking about more serious empowerment for the broader youth. And if you look at the general management of Black Mountain and those Jerabos, they exploit a lot of people. The other time, Mountain had such a collapse on a lot of young people. And who was running that? It was the same Jerabos. So I think we should detach ourselves from promising people crumbs. No, empowerment should be a bit more broad-based than saying, it should be a bit more about employment, broader employment on a broad base.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Is there any other issue? Thank you.
No, that's it. That's it.
Thank you.
I was trying for 10 minutes to get to
I've seen everyone has been trying. You are not the only ones. I'm so sorry. But first, I love that my guests finish their thoughts. It's better that way. Thank you.
And you have my vote. I'm so far away to vote.
Oh, the mayor has your vote. Wonderful. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador, good evening. Name Mtale.
Yes, Mtale, make your contribution.
First of all, greetings to the incoming mayor. Greeting to Chibota, Kuzayo, the rest of the team. Kuzayo, please don't forget my solar panel. Promised. Yeah. Ambassador, I want to discuss two leaders. We had the ECL who had struck a deal. Well, first of all, when he was ascending to authority, the people asked him what was your vision. He said, I don't have a vision, but I choose to do his motto was continuity and development. We saw how people from the party criticized him because he kept on some people in the system, and other people did not understand why he kept them in the system, because his idea was to continue. And indeed, he continued with the development, the projects of the late President Bassat. And then we have another person here who takes over and chooses to shoot down all the projects, all the political projects, because of his greed. There was a dual carriageway project which was proposed by the PF then, from capital to dollar. That project was seen a very huge development because it was tackling a lot of satellite towns. So it was expensive. So it sounded expensive, but along the way, that project was working to go for. And then you have another person who brings it so cheap and in the eyes of people, but very expensive along the way. That's the two leaders. So if this man, HH, was serious and he had the nation at heart, this guy, he could have struck the deal the way he struck the deal for tax-free or tax holidays for the mine. He could have prioritized Northwestern and bring development to Northwestern. But you can clearly tell that this is a person who has got no heart for the people of Northwestern. And you can tell that this man is there for his personal gain. This is a man who is there just to continue on what privatization or where he left from privatization of the land. So clearly, this person has got nothing to offer to the land, but to pocket himself. I can actually go on and give the examples. Look at the goat count at the KK airport. Look at the city right which you have spoken heavily, and the many other corruptions. And that's the reason why the people of Northwestern today are saying, look, We cannot go on and on. And yet we're the people that offers 40% of GDP. We are not after seeing any fruit, just like she was admission to say. It is a shame when you come to this province. Indeed, it is a shame. When you look at I've been there. When you look at the filling station he was referring to, that filling station belongs to a chief. And that chief, when he decides to close it, because there have been wrangles, people in Zambezi there, Chavuma and the Kabompo, they have been fighting day and night. It's only 90 kilometers between the two of each other. And when the chief chooses to close it, the people suffers. And are you telling me if the government had the heart of people, the government would have put up a very good infrastructure there?
Thank you, Mtali. Thank you very much.
That man is there to pocket and make himself rich.
Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
From Cape Town. Good evening, Honorable.
Kindly speak up, my brother. You are very faint. Yes.
Daniel from Cape Town.
My brother, make your contribution from Cape Town.
Thank you very much. First, I would like to commend the 4 young men. I always refer them to the 4 musketeers. It's a good job they are doing, and it gives hope to the Zambians that we've got young men who can analyze issues nicely and well presented. Not the youths we see on the other side who can't speak for a minute without insulting elders or using vulgar language. This is a Zambia that we want, youths who can present themselves in a mature manner. Vambiva youth, some young men, even elderly men, who speak vulgar language addressing elderly people. I won't mention names, but some of the elder people in the ruling government, Abobatuma, Abatpangama, what they call blogs or whatever they do, 2 minutes in the podcast, Vare Tukana. You must now, it's a different situation where you elders are going to be emulating these young men who are there presenting, analyzing political issues, which we can see that even if they were given a position in leadership in government, they can handle them well. So to the young men, I'm really proud of you. And lastly, I want to speak to the voter protection, the vote protection. Vaneinkonde teyakova kuvikati tukachita petition after election. Petition, with my opinion, is that taibomba tapaboa winapo petition. So let's protect these votes as using our all strength that we can. If of ever Cape Town, we are even trying to come up with a project that will reward those who expose those that will come up with things trying to rig the elections. So in Minneapolis, tukachita announce we are trying to come up with a reward to put numbers. Ngawaikata fyo uliwonse wa mchita expose. We've got camera phones. Please, that day, switch them on. Don't let them go anywhere. Where to report. Let anything that you find be destroyed there, and then ballot papers are destroyed. Thank you very much.
But Mayor, cash for illegal ballots or for pre-marked ballots program. Very well. Cape Town says they are putting up money together to ensure that the vote is protected that way. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Thank you, Ambassador. Good evening, everyone, and everyone that's on the panel. I'm very, concerned at the fact that we have so many things that are happening to people that we know are supporting this side of thing that's going to bring sanity in the country. We need to, I'll start with, the presidential, candidate and the running mate. The mayor did go into detail to, explain, and that's what, people who are fair-minded, always make sure that everyone has understood. I suppose I'm one of those people that probably will just cut it short and, say this is common sense. If there's a criteria that's been put in place where there are qualifications that have to be made in order for a presidential candidate to stand, then it must be as such. So automatically, the person who has someone withdrawing from being a running mate must be disqualified, unless there is a clause that I probably might not have seen that says that there can be a renomination. And that's to do with the presidential, candidate. Those who have had, and we all know this was happening because, people have been paid out of the race. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is something that's very, very close to my heart, the voter protection and the abduction, or is it, I shouldn't call it the wrong thing, is it the arresting of Mr. Kamba? I think as a party, we need, to make sure that we are putting up a fight. So if he has been, arrested, what are we doing apart from just going to media? What are we doing to try and make sure that we also, either, go to any one of these bodies to fight to get the people, the journalist, Mr. Sylvia Chungu, and writing in the press and, media doesn't really help us, or even going to sit at the police station doesn't help us. What can we do? Shouldn't our lawyers put up, shouldn't we get lawyers who can put up a fight so that we sue government? Because you can't sue government and, get them under pressure to release people that have been jailed for nothing. And then, the other thing is the vote protection. Very, very important. One would not take away the fact that, yes, this is what is being done. We need to have a fallback position. And I think there are many people who are willing to volunteer in the places of these people that have been, removed, quickly put in somebody who can stand in so that we carry on with the work that needs to be done. On the day of voting, going on to the time that we finish, there are people who have experience. We need to get together and make sure that everyone, contributes to what should be happening on that day.
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, and make your contribution quickly.
Hello, Mr. Ambassador.
Mwabomben Mayo. Mwebani, and make your contribution.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, good evening to all of you who are on the panel. Yeah, my name is No Name. Yeah, a very worried citizen. My people, we are only left with about 2 days to the countdown. Tension has escalated. Yeah. There is a lot of debate on who is giving credible promises. This is what I want to talk on, because there have been a lot of people talking about promises. Yeah, whose promises should people take on, Bamwamba? Well, the ambassador, what determines credible promises depends entirely on the track records, such as accountability structures and the verifiable actions rather than spoken words. And this is something that our leaders should actually, put in their mind. Mr. Ambassador, I'm going to talk on a common Zambian. A common Zambian on the street has been going through hardships, which are well known by everybody and for so many years, and I'm one of them. Yes, I cannot put myself aside. And I'm talking on behalf of all the people who have been suffering in Zambia. And these are the issues to bring on the table when addressing the nation. You know, I'm still repeating my words, Bamwamba. You know, you take away Shema from a common person, you lose the battle. You lose the battle. Bamwam, you are educated, and I'm not excluding you. You educated leaders, how much do you reach? This is the question I'm asking. How much do you reach to people and give them the know-how? A lot of people in Zambia are so skilled, and what they lose, what they don't have, is guidance and direction, Bamwamba. Emlandu wine impalume shesu shifwile ukulolesha pabantu first. Ba President Mundubile, we know very well that you are doing well, and we've got about 99% you are going to scoop the chair. Please, you need to put people first. You have gone on a long tour, and you are still going on a long tour. You have seen the state of the roads and other important things that are required by people. Please, any promise you are giving to the Zambian people, you need to fulfill. Without us, you can never be on a seat that you are looking for. We are the only ones you come and cry for that vote, and we are going to give you that vote. Last thing I want to talk about, Yui. You know, I respect him a lot. He has also contributed a lot to Zambia. He's been also a credible officer. We cannot condemn him completely because he was doing his job. All I can say is it could be a lot of matters put together that we may not know. I end here, Bamwamba. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We have so many calls. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. This is Sinyangu Dani.
Dani from Canada, make your contribution.
Thank you. Greetings to the boys and the mayor of Lusaka, Gabriel. I've known Gabriel way back when we were young in Kawata, a very good person, credible man. I just want to emphasize on the point of the boys, especially Danson. Danson, 2 weeks yashala komkwai. Yali yonsama video mwapanga ba Dyson, yali yaba kapteka balebepa. I think pangenka documentary.
Mwasokololenka, but proceed.
Oh, wait. Okay, all right. I will chap what then. What makes me sick, Bamwamba? 2 days in Munakusolo West, the richest province in Zambia. Looking at the way it is looking, because there's nothing that he has done for the people in Western Province. Western Province is the richest province in Zambia. But look, Northwestern, look at it the way it is looking. I will not say much because I want to abengi balefwa yokulanda, but balesa bale mpala the boys inchito yomule bilomba lesa fikumulu eukamulipila. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. I don't want to bring the usual familiar faces. I wanted you to listen to youth voices, the people on the trail, and you may miss them, and that they give the authentic view, and that was the idea of bringing the boys. They've done a wonderful job, and I thought we could acknowledge them and hear from them. And just the kind of youths that they are as leaders. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Yeah, so this is Muke.
Muke, make your contribution.
Yes, particularly I want to speak for my province. Of course, I'm Zambian, and my province is the province for everyone. But when I say my province, I mean where I come from. I was particularly born in Solwezi at Solwezi General Hospital in 1993. Yeah, so we the people of Northwestern Province have come to realize that Mr. Samakai had said at some time, we've come to realize that for the past elections, we've voted based on relationships. Yeah, but we've not benefited anything from that. I think this time that the president is there, our president, Mr. Branimon, you have the world and you people have seen that Northwestern Province is lacking behind in terms of development. The road you are seeing, Chingola to Solwezi Road, it was only done after the Patriotic Front assumed office in 2011. That's when that road was done. The way you are seeing the road in Mwenilunga, that's how even the Chingola to Solwezi Road was. Okay, it was like that until PF came into power. The road that you are seeing in Solwezi town, Kiawama there, that road also was just a single lane, broken one, dismantled. And it was only done by our late Republican president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa, may he so rest in peace. Apart from that, when the UPND took over office in 2021, they have literally done nothing, okay? I always tell this. In 2022, you saw our former vice president to be, Tarina Lumango. She went there and did the groundbreaking ceremony for the Solwezi General Hospital. But up to now, there's only that stone, okay? So we, the people of Northwestern Province, have noted that the current government, the words they speak, they don't match with their actions. That's the first thing. And the second thing we've noted is the application of law, okay? The law in Zambia is not being applied well. We have seen since the UPND took over office in 2021, no one from their government, no one from their party has been, penalized or arrested for theft, corruption, or violence. We have seen a lot of violence activities that have taken place in Zambia that have been done by the people from the UPND, but they've not been brought to book. So we've taken note of all those things, and this time we are not going to allow being used as just a tool to take them into office, and then when they go into office, they dump us. So we are going to show them that that's not their bedroom. We are going to show them that it's not their home. We are going to show them that we don't vote on Chimboya this time. And the last thing I would mention, my four brothers, Brother Chawata, and the rest, you are our inspiration. We always desire to be like you guys. And inside us, we are just like you. It's only that the nature of the works that we do sometimes, they hold us from just expressing ourselves just like you do. And lastly, I would mention about voter protection. Yeah, in our capacity, we'll make sure that every vote for our incoming president, Bani Mundwire, counts. After voting, we are not going to leave the polling stations. We'll make sure that we are there, and we'll make sure that every vote is counted for our incoming president. The people that are in Solwezi, those that are the team that is with the President Bani Mundwire, please keep taking care and keep protecting yourselves. Make sure that security is close to you. You recall what happened in 2021 where Jackson Congo was killed by a mob. Please, we don't want that to happen. So make sure that there is security even as you are moving, and make sure the president is safe as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Mamba, for this opportunity. I believe others might have something to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No voting on Chimbuya. That's a powerful one. I'll take 2, 3 last calls to allow the team. The team is in the bush. They have to at least take some rest, and they are waking up very early to go into, into the campaigns. And the mayor himself, I pulled him off from a campaign process. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador. How are you?
Very well, very well. Who's calling?
This is David in Mongu.
Oh, David in Mongu. The boys are coming. Is Mongu ready for the boys?
Mongu is very, very ready. Mongu is ready. Although, yeah, we've been battling with venues.
That has been the story. Yeah, public spaces, local authorities are being directed to deny our people. I think I understand, like, is it in Ikelengi, where the team was, forced to hold their rally at a church premises because the authorities were told that all public places should not be given to them. So continue fighting. It's Zambia's independence at stake.
The biggest problem they have is the land here. Most of the land belongs to the BRA. So tomorrow I have a meeting with Ngambela to address the issue. Because the land here doesn't belong to government.
Yeah.
Government has property on land, but the land does not belong to government.
Wonderful.
So I have no choice but to involve the BRA tomorrow. So I'm meeting the Prime Minister in the morning to discuss the same.
Make your contribution for the boys or the mayor.
For everybody, including ourselves, everybody. Zambia is now, I think the book which everyone should look for is by George Owen, Animal Farm. That's what Zambia is today. Sad. It's a sad reality, but that's where we are. So there's no point of even debating. If you just want to know what Zambia is today, read the book by George Owen. It's called The Animal Farm.
George Orwell.
Then you'll understand. Yes, Animal Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my contribution is. It's exactly what he wrote. I don't know how many years ago is what exactly is happening to Zambia today. It's exactly that book, Animal Farm.
Animal Farm. Okay, thank you very much.
That's what we've been reduced to.
Yeah. George Orwell wrote this book in 1984. It's a beautiful book for us that deal with literature. I'm a journalist by profession, so I know. And I know the story of animal farms where some animals are more equal than others. The famous writing from them. Thank you, Bo, David. Continue to work hard, and we hope to have a successful rally in Mongo and in Western Province.
No, yeah, we're looking forward.
Litume Shangwe.
Good evening, thanks.
Okay, so I'll ask the team to give me their views and their comments, and then we close the program. And remember, now I'm doing double shift, the graveyard shift for me, which is the 7 hours to 8 hours in Zambia. It's a graveyard shift for me, and then this particular one. So I'm doing 2 shifts a day. I need some rest. The team is in the campaigns. I pulled the mayor off a campaign process. The boys have dedicated the last 3 hours here. They're supposed to get some rest because they are on the road tomorrow. So let's hear from them. But before we do that, let's just go for a small break. Colleagues, prepare for your comments. Then we wind up the program.
Then they're saying, no, we are not allowing HH and UPND to amend the Constitution. The question is why? Because there are lacunas in there. Is it the first government to amend the Constitution? No. Who else amended the Constitution? In this manner. You amended the Constitution in the election year. There was no problem. No street fights. Same organizations didn't go in the streets. By Kalafia Fidia Tondolo. And the Constitution is being amended. No street fights. 2016, under PF, the Constitution was amended. We were aggrieved as UPND. And I told my members, no one goes in the streets. Let's vote in Parliament. We voted and lost in Parliament. I never allowed our members to go in the streets. UPND, this man they don't like, for whatever reason. I told my members, no one goes in the streets. Let's vote in Parliament. We voted and lost in Parliament. I never allowed our members to go in the streets. UPND, this man they don't like, for whatever reason. Right? You know, this level of hatred is shocking. Right? You can see that there's venom here. You can even touch it. There's venom here.
The phone is still ringing. Let me just take the last 3 calls. Maybe I didn't warn our viewers that I'm taking the last calls and the phones are ringing. So let me just take the last 3. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
This is Professor K.
Professor Kalombo from California. Make your contribution, dear sir.
How are you, Ambassador?
We are working double shift until the country is emancipated.
I saw that last night, and I was like, "Is this recorded?" I sat and listened to it as we were talking to the gentleman there. I didn't realize that it was at that time. So I think today, if it's gonna be there, I would definitely join again.
But Professor, I've invited you as a guest. You know that.
Oh, I haven't checked it. I'll check.
Yeah, we want voices to analyze the issues. So I'll send you the link. You can join me and Queen Pumi and Dr. Brian, in the morning show. We want as many voices to be on the show. We can host up to 6 people just to hear the various voices. So make your contributions quickly.
Fantastic. Professor, Ambassador, I'm happy that you brought the young men and the mayor candidate. I also want to reiterate the situation that people must also realize is, yes, there are some laws in Zambia that have been abrogated by the government of today, and those laws that have been abrogated, definitely they should understand that they will come and pay for doing that. We cannot suffer the way we've suffered. We cannot have people being thrown in jails for no reason. And people running out. For the first time, we're ambassador. You've been an ambassador. When you were ambassador, how many Zambians did you meet who were seeking asylum outside Zambia? Literally nobody until UPND came into office. That's when things changed. That's when people started running away. At the same time, people were afraid to even mention their own names, even on your show. Yes, some of us, if you remember, I really fought against President Kaunda for multi-partyism. As Copper Belt Youth Chairman, I really worked very hard. What I want to do is to emphasize on the candidates that are taking, or the campaigners that are in there. This is not a childish play or a game. This is serious. I do remember after campaign ambassador, I had to go to Livingstone to just relax at least, because I found myself that I was in the fatigue, very serious fatigue. And I expect that to the young men that are doing everything for the country, these that are on the show today. And I really, really, really appreciate what they're doing. And I know why they are doing it. They are doing it for Zambia. They are not doing it for themselves. People might think that, no, they are looking for jobs or whatever. No, people are not looking for jobs. People are trying to change the government from the government that is very bad to a government that can bring normalcy into the country. There is no normalcy in Zambia at the moment, Wamwamba. If you look, you know the truth. And us Zambians in the diaspora, let's try to put in 2-3 cents of our energy in having this thing be done. We have very few days to go. And if anything we can do can help, let's do it. Let's do it. But I just came to say thank you because, I was on the road, but I was listening even when I was in the grocery store driving around the cart, and I was listening until I got home. Nafunya grocery nasa Chintashaba Lumendo.
Your Mashaburo professor, they are doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwabombeni Bamunkonge.
Bamunkonge Mwabombeni.
Mkwarawe ndetotela wabalumendo bavyala abena kuzwayo kubika pono yombyo musamba shina oyo mwina chipatoyo roto abika kono munesu oyo baranda fya mashwa yasuma sana nsharandepo sana no baba ambassador ndefo kuranda pali vote protection. Vote protection ira piure fintu shingi amadezi twaliranda sana okwebati tubuli amakomiti tupanga amakomiti mu polling stations, but kuliko chimocho nara kumyako ambassador echo ndiko na chena concern imbinga na chikumyako na abantu bambinga bamfako limbira bena kuti bayishiko kwebati kiliko concern pali pamo ba ambassador pa lefo ayiko kufimba po na saba concern ifya chitike kuchingola natkwata abantu kwebati bara tuvotera bwino sana nomba toroleshe pali vote protection te pronda fekweka ndelanda ko ambassador kuba nesoma members aba iminina pa ticket ya RNPUP barole keshepo sana ife bare dealing na nabo ba RP because abena Zambia bari kunse ife turi muringa oro abena Zambia watu eba no kweba tuchitefi so veya sana kunshira ya kweba tiama tontonkanyo yabo because ife achitike kuri lali ya kuchingola ife ari kweteko panona ma damages ya kweba chipoka murenga akwata nomba na advantage mwadishwa politics of ya abamwa aya kuredio kwa mukurando kwa watu RP bonse trend so abanenso abali kure NRPUP twaba bonse mubebe kwa bengi ntungurushi batwebe kwa pamura basa barakula confidence iri yako bati techi tona ore kuri vote protection ora baje banda ora baleranda ama followers babatamba bengi so bare sta clarify because ababalishi babantu kwe bati bari ama political parties yabiri arasangwa muri imitekere kwali abali n'abamakebe zuru n'abakwata ama members parliament barapichora bakeminika so nombo kuranda kwa baje banda abantu barabumva sana bale rondorera abantu mwali bamunche ndomu abafya RP tamuri NRPUP baje banda parapa platform pamwe abo baliringa bale isura abantu amano kubebo kwe batawe RP chora mwasanga pali chora MP naye namufire mwamupera so bera ba specific kuranda pali NRPUP because munchende mumbita mwaba members of parliament aba NRPUP aba iminina so untunga mukuvotero baje banda bena bare staff emphasize ko bato konsefe ni NRPUP so abantunga bakulya basanga taparesangwa MP NRPUP kuba ba disturb murando wa message yabo so bare sta clarify ko batawe NRPU turi bamubene turi banga nabanganda necharenganiso nabakwata ama followers abengi.
Thank you Bamunkonge. Thank you very much Bamunkonge. Thank you. Hello, our last caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Anonymous, I'm calling from Lusaka.
Anonymous, make your contributions.
Okay, Bamwamba, one thing that I wanted to ask from you, my brother, is this. I know we have received today the last ballot paper from Dubai. So I wanted to find out, because there is this rumor to say that these people, they have taken those ballot papers to, is it Salama Park or what? How true is that? Another thing, what happened just some few minutes, you remember there is something that HH has said concerning the rally that he had. Is it in Mungo or what? So people, they have just reacted, and all over the town they are just putting candles and whatever, and even supporting that candidate. Is it independent, and saying to say we want change, we want change. If you are not aware, I'm just trying to brief you.
Oh, thank you very much. No, I've got the video. I got it, but I like to verify. But I've got the video. This is a video. You can watch it. I got it, but I haven't listened and watched it. I like to verify.
I thought that maybe you did get it.
No, I did get it. I have it already, and I've been trying to verify it, but it's very clear. The president made remarks. Thank you, my brother. Is there any other matter?
Yes. No. It's just that, and please just respond for me about the protection of these ballot papers. Are we sure to say that they are at the Salama Park or they are at...
No, ECZ has given us. ECZ has said they've a Silverest warehouse. It's at the Silverest, a brand new building. I think it was built under... It began under President Edgar Lungu in 2021. So they have a huge facility where they're supposed to keep electoral material and anything related to elections at Silverest warehouse, where there will be even the verification process. So it's at Silverest.
Okay, now the reason, are we having our own keys also, like for Tonse Alliance, or all these people, or are we having our own people who are guarding that side to see what is...
No, it's an ECZ building. It to be under the custody of ECZ. I understand where you are getting it, because our trust in ECZ is so low that we can't even trust ECZ to keep the material. I had said the last caller, but this is a caller also has been calling for some time. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contributions.
Good evening, Ambassador. This is Mulenga calling from England.
My dear brother, sorry you've been calling. There have been so many calls. I apologize, but I had to give my guest a lot of time. Make your quick contributions. You are our last caller.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. First thing first, I'm hearing the Lusaka mayor for the first time. The man is eloquent. Very
busy. He's such a brilliant mind.
Not knowing how brilliant the man is, I'm very much impressed with his work. I'm sure you have even seen from the comments that people are very happy with the way he's been talking. Then coming to the boys, these gentlemen are something else. Meaning they are beyond what you can imagine. They have really fought this fight. And
in the good way, huh? Like Michael Jackson says, saying I'm bad. Not that he's bad, but that he's good.
Yes. Meaning they are very good with what they are doing. Then, Ambassador, just a quick one. I was just alarmed by some colleagues. Someone told me about. I don't know if you saw some video sometime back. Share the Voice of Zambia posted a video where they were parking bicycles, government to go and distribute on behalf of the vice president. I was told by someone from
No. I saw the pictures under DMMU and of course government has been saying government will continue doing the work, but the distribution of such material during campaigns raises an electoral issue, and our people should document. This can form part of any election petition, especially for our MPs in an area where the vice president comes and distributes those bicycles. You can petition and demonstrate that a candidate was favored with public resources. So, my brother, we are winding up. Let me bring in the team.
Let me just my worry about this. You know, the person who got that video up to now, she has been incarcerated. That mother.
Or there is a person who was suspected to have taken the video and they've locked her up.
She was working for DMMU. Her name was Pamela Chanda. Since that video came out, I don't know when you saw it. She has been in
Last
prison,
week.
not charged. Yes. She
What's
hasn't
her
been
name?
charged or anything. Pamela Chanda.
Pamela Chanda. She's just suspected. She's just suspected. It even becomes worse.
And she has been in cells since then. So that was my biggest worry.
Thank you. Would you know which cells she's locked up? Would you have any idea?
I will text you.
Thank you very much. We'll ask our lawyers, even our mayor, to go and check on her. There are a lot of people that are being victimized. Whistleblowers, like the ZNBC reporter, has received so much attention. But you can imagine a young lady like Pamela Chanda, who clearly saw material for government going to the UPND, which is an offense, but then they lock her up. We'll follow that up. Thank you very much, my dear brother.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you so much.
Now, we understand that in Mwandi, the entire Mwandi has come on the streets because President Hakainde Hichilema castigated one of the independent candidates, who is Iris Kayingu. Iris Kayingu chose to stand as an independent, and because they refused her, they didn't adopt her, they adopted someone else. And the president was on the podium asking people not to vote for Iris Kayingu. He says, you know my message on independence, don't support independence. And there's a rebellion in Mwandi where the entire town, entire village in Mwandi has come on the street. So someone sent me this video, but sometimes I'm reluctant to show the videos before I verify, but I've taken the risk. This is a video. So the entire town is saying the president must go, Nizwa, Kuya, and he spoke publicly against a particular candidate, and that video is very solid. You can see people are carrying candles and they're demanding that, you know, the UPND must go. Fertile ground for Brian Mundubile and the team as they visit Sesheke and Mwandi. So, family, we are at the time when we need to close. Let me start with the boys. Your reflections as we go into the next campaign, and please keep safe. I don't know how many people are writing that you should keep safe and are saying you should keep safe. We continue to pray for you, and we recognize your sacrifices of all of you, Brian Mundubile, Makebi, Zulu, the Alliance partners, the security people, our media team. We are all praying for you. But let's start with you, the boys, on what we're discussing today and the reflections of where we are going.
Okay. Thank you very much. On my reflection, personally, I will say this. With what has transpired, you know, Honorable Brian Mundubile, our presidential candidate for NRPUP, is not only popular because he's popular. No, it all comes down to the fact that President Hakainde Hichilema has failed lamentably. So meaning that the people are actually just trying to show him how much of a failure that his government has become. So now, when we look at what has been happening in terms of the ECZ, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and how the voters, the people, the public is very concerned, notice there's a growing concern of vote protection. Even when we are on the ground, people tell us that everywhere. This is our 8th province, and people keep telling us, look, you're going to get our votes. We guarantee you that. But what's the guarantee that you will protect our votes? So that is what, that's how tense the place, the country is right now, because they do not trust the ECZ. They also don't trust the UPND because they've seen the UPND somehow manage to get whatever they want, even though they do it illegally or they force their way to get what they want. And the people are now open to that fact to say, with my UPND, anything is possible. These people will do whatever it takes to cling on to power a little longer. So with my reflection, I would just say this, Ambassador, to the Zambians out there listening, this is a time for you to vote for a president that's going to bring healing to the country. There's a reason why we picked the National Reconciliation Party for unity and prosperity. That's because we are about reconciling and healing this nation. As it is right now, it is broken under the UPND, where we are faced with vindictive leadership, where we see a lot of vengeance, anger, rage, even as far as microaggression. You can even hear it from the tone of the Republican president when he's at a rally. You can tell, he's always, pushing everybody around. Today, he pushed a young lady, Iris Kaingo, which I find quite sad. She's just a young lady aspiring for leadership, and she's being basically verbally and intimidated by the most powerful man in this country. I would actually call up on the NGOCC to look at this matter on why a young lady such as Iris Kaingo would be intimidated to try and derail her from her right as a citizen. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Ambassador, for me, I always tell the boys here to say, problem etuakwata our president wesu bufi vaakainde ichirema vabufi ubufi ubukuruna bwena. Today he was in Mwandi. Then he was quoting Vice President VIP to President Mundubire, who's Makebi Zuru. Makebi kuchingola Vice Regoda ndokwebati ba Brian Mundubire na venanga bapita bakabavwesha abantu okwikara ngofo baikere mu PF munste abalungu okwikara bwino noti fifo baremona vera popene ba president bakainde ichirema bamona pona kariro apa kubepera. You see, so now we have a president who always wants to paint people black so that people feel that the other side cannot deliver unless him. But when you look at the things that he promised and the things that he has delivered, you find that the party napa kusonta bwino vai karira fe kusonta vati ni CDF, yo CDF, yo in CDF. When you look at the quality of the projects that are being done using CDF money, you find that we are wasting so much money on CDF. When you look at the reports that are coming, how much money is being stolen through CDF, you can even wonder how UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema stand tall to say, yo, if we buy UPND now to deliver, we are fighting corruption, all these issues, you see. So basically what I've observed is that this time around, what we are having isn't about President Brian Mundubire versus President Hakainde Hichilema. No, it's President Hakainde Hichilema versus the people.
Versus the Zambians.
Versus the Zambians. The Zambians have seen who President Hakainde Hichilema is. He's a liar who always wants to lie so that he can get to the top. But this time around, the people of Zambia are saying no to that. Thank you.
Guys?
Ambassador, can you still get us? Are we audible?
Yes. You are live to the world.
Okay, Ambassador. Let me make my contribution. You know, amongst the commitments that Brian and Makebi have made to the people of Zambia is to depoliticize the civil service. What happens is when you have politics in civil service, you get a very unfair treatment as a citizen of Zambia if you are not aligned to a particular political party, especially one that is in power. So when we have commitment like that, we are trying to give a level field for every Zambian citizen to benefit from the services that government institutions offer. Unfortunately, what we are seeing today with the UPND, where now they have taken, firstly, they have played a blind eye to the politics in civil service, because we are seeing civil servants campaigning for them. And now they're taking politics to schools. That for me, Ambassador, is, I think, abominable. If we wanted school-going children those that are coming from grade 1 to grade 12 to be political. Perhaps we could have just allowed every one of them to vote at the end of the day. Why do we cap the voting age at 18 is because we know that there's a certain responsibility that people have and a certain maturity at that point. But when we get students displaying gestures that represent a certain political party, I think it's quite dangerous. And then what culture, what tradition are we actually fostering for the future generations? You will remember that in recent rallies, actually something as recent as a week or 2 weeks ago, the head of state was holding a rally publicly and asked somebody to go and jot down the names and phone numbers of nurses that were apparently volunteering at some institution, health institution, so that he could give them jobs. And when you see that from my point of view is actually what I would term an abuse of authority, because we need a fair recruitment process for us to be able to benefit every Zambian. But if we say, oh, fine, those that are attending the UPND rallies are guaranteed of employment, and you actually see that there's a trend now since that time, there's a lot of people wearing their nursing uniforms, hoping that their names will be jotted down, put into a database, and then they're going to be employed. This country has for a long time needed healing. But the fact that we're taking politics away from politicians and into school, we're only creating a very detrimental situation for the future generation. What happens to students who do not align with that party and want to go to that school? Will they get a place in that school? Will they benefit from policies such as free education? So we need to quickly get back and reset this country, because at this pace, only those that align with the powers that be will make full benefit of whatever the government can do for the people, be it CDF, social cash transfer, employment, and even places in school. So I feel like I strongly condemn what the vice president did. We also saw another video of a candidate that was in a class with students wearing regalia. I think those things must not happen, because firstly, they also risk the lives of those students. These are innocent young children. When they're walking on the streets, they might be attacked. We just explained to you that yesterday we were ambushed, blocked on the front, blocked on the back, and we were not able to proceed until we had to detour into the bush, and we were pursued for a good 40-50 kilometers off-road. So it's just very unfortunate that this is the state of affairs, and UPND must be stopped in their tracks before they make this country only beneficial for those who side with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Guys, you are excused. Thank you very much for your contribution. Let me take the mayor. Before you log off, let me look for the picture, the video for the mayor alone. Okay, guys, you can log off. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, people want you back. They want you to come and sell your vision. They were very excited. I bought you for political commentary, but they want you alone. So you and I have to find time between now and probably next Tuesday, in between, that you should come back. But say your last remarks. Maybe just use the opportunity to just broadly speak to a framework of your vision and your reflections as we go into elections next week.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ambassador. I'll be glad to be back, and I will be in your inbox to remind you so that we can have a discourse that is focusing only on the city. My vision remains very clear. We need to modernize Lusaka, we need to urbanize Lusaka, and in the longer term, we need to have mini CBDs around the country. You have traveled, you're well-traveled, Ambassador, and you will notice that even if you go to a place like Dubai, you've got, a business bay this side with a small town. You go this other side, you've got a mini town and a mini town, and that opens up the city. It resolves congestion. Also, to speak to the issues that were raised by the boys, where they're talking about CDF not really impacting the people. I want to say that if you have a program like Cash for Work that the UPND is implementing, which is not quantifiable. You can't measure where people swept. But we in our tenure, I want us to convert such a program into what I was calling cash for trash, so that as people pick up garbage and trash, bring it to a kiosk and they get paid for it, the city will automatically become clean, because then it's something that is sustainable, something that can refinance itself. I'm also looking at a city that has modern housing. The council must be able to own housing. We must be able to put up some high rise, trade some of the land, whether it is Kanyama, Chivolia, raise it up and let people have some decent but affordable housing. I've been talking about issues to do with the road network and decongestion. We want to have more ring roads, we want to have more bypasses, but I also want a situation where, as a council, we can have dedicated minibus lanes or bus lanes. In the longer term, our council should also be able to run its own buses like we used to have in the past, like you see in Europe. This also resolves issues of cadarism, because then it's a council station, the council is managing it, you've got this public transport. There are also bigger projects that we should be looking at, projects to do with rainwater harvesting. We must be able to harvest the water that we are using, that we're running through these drainages, and resupply that water into the compounds for people to have water. We must be able to generate electricity from trash, even at Chunga dam site. These are projects that have been done in other countries. You have seen them in China, we've seen them in Ethiopia. So these are some of the issues that we want to make sure we can come and discuss in detail during the next program. Back to the politics. It's really a shame that the UPND has put us through this. I must agree with the boys that President Hakainde Hichilema's promises of 2021 make it very, very difficult for us to sell our manifestos and people believe us that politicians can be honest. Because almost everything that President Hakainde promised, none of them has been delivered everywhere in the country. You look at our late President Edgar Chagwa-Lungu, when he was leaving office, the sentiments then, Ambassador, were that President Edgar Chagwa-Lungu is a good man. He means well. He has the heart for the people. He's humble. Everything was positive about him. The people who were blamed were actually people around him. People say the people around him are wrong fellows, okay? And they also say that the PF had developed the country, the infrastructure was visible. There was even a slogan of Sonto Poa Bomba, and they said the PF can saunter. We could saunter 4,790 kilometers of road. 4,970 kilometers of road that were done. We could talk about more than 18,000 classes. We could talk about 650 health posts, more than 13 to 20 district hospitals. President Edgar Chagwa-Lungu was leaving office commissioning things, commissioning the bridges, commissioning the power generation, which had doubled. He commissioned and commissioned and commissioned. This president that we have is going around making new promises, even before old promises are fulfilled. So if you have a president who people are saying himself is a problem, you have a president who is promising new promises when he has not even fulfilled any, clearly the man is gone. There is absolutely no one who can convince me that President Hakainde Hichilema would bounce back into status. No one, unless by hook or by crook. But all things being equal, toward Lusaka, the ground carpet, the rug has been removed off his feet. And if anybody is telling President Hakainde Hichilema that he's standing a chance, they're cheating him, they're lying to him. And this is the unfortunate scenario that usually most presidents go through. The people have moved on. The president should just be preparing on how to have a peaceful handover so that Zambia can continue on the trajectory of peace. It is a victory for you, all of you Zambians. This is our second liberation. We want to restore our freedom of expression, freedom of speech. We don't want any more issues that cause mistrust. Just as we are talking, Ambassador, you may recollect that the Bill 7, which was previously deferred, came back into Parliament and was passed. As the government was winding up and Parliament was closing, I want to remind Zambians that there is a law which is supposed to replace the Public Order Act. And I think this is the Public Gathering Bill, which is supposed to come. The bill has also been deferred. Remember, it has not been removed or thrown away. It has merely been deferred. And the moment we cross over, if the devil is on the side of the UPND and the UPND somehow return to government, Bill is going to come back just the same way that Bill 7 came back. In summary, UPND for me is a very good example, an excellent example of how not to govern. A perfect example of a bad government. That is my concluding remark, Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Mayor. We'll talk inbox. And thank you for gracing us and thank you for selling your vision to us. So God bless you and thank you for the opportunity. We'll see you later.